Why you cut people off. The United States Surgeon General just declared a loneliness epidemic. 1 in 4 adults feel completely isolated, disconnected, alone. But you chose this. You looked at your phone, saw their name, and decided, not anymore. And here's the part nobody talks about. You don't feel lonely. You don't feel broken. You feel relieved. So when did this start? You weren't always like this. There's a time you were the reliable one. The friend who picked up at 2 in the morning. The family member who kept the peace. The person who absorbed everyone's problems and never once asked to be held in return. People called you when things fell apart. And you answered. Every single time. You listened to the same complaints. Gave the same advice. Watched them ignore it. And come back anyway. Until one day, you just didn't pick up. And the world didn't end. It got quieter. That moment wasn't weakness. Your brain was doing exactly what it was designed to do. Dr. Stephen, through his research on the polyvagal theory, discovered that your nervous system operates in distinct modes, one of which exists purely for protection. When you've been drained too many times, when people have consistently taken more than they've given, your brain doesn't wait for your permission. It flips a switch. It moves you from social engagement into what researchers call the dorsal vagal response. Shutdown. Withdrawal. Conservation. Not because something is broken inside you, but because your nervous system is doing its job, protecting your energy like the finite resource it actually is. But here's the deeper question. Where did your nervous system learn that people were a threat? For most of us, the answer goes back further than we'd like to admit. Maybe you grew up reading the room before you could read books. Scanning your parents' face the second they walked through the door, learning that one person's mood could shift the entire atmosphere of your home. Psychologist Murray Bowen called this emotional cutoff. What happens when a child learns that closeness comes with a cost, that love and unpredictability are a package deal? So you adapted. You became the one who could sense tension before anyone spoke, who understood early that the safest place was often alone. That pattern didn't disappear when you grew up. It followed you. And now, every time someone gets too close, it activates. That's not a flaw. It's a blueprint your younger self drew to survive. But here's where it gets complicated. There's a real difference between protecting yourself and building walls that keep everyone out. The CDC reports that prolonged isolation increases your risk of heart disease by 29%, stroke by 32%. The cost isn't just emotional. But here's what that statistic leaves out. Being surrounded by the wrong people is just as damaging. So how do you know which one you're doing? Walls are built from fear. They block everyone, the good, the bad, the uncertain. Boundaries are built from self-awareness. They're selective. If you cut someone off and felt relief, that's data. If you cut someone off and felt peace, that's not isolation. That's protection. The question isn't whether you should let people in. It's which people deserve access to your peace. Here's something fascinating about people who cut others off. You don't do it randomly. You do it because you've become extraordinarily good at reading patterns. That friend who only calls when they need something, you spotted it by month 2. That family member whose compliments always come with conditions, you learned their rhythm years ago. That person who love bombs you, then vanishes. You saw the cycle before it completed. A 2023 study in Nature. Neuroscience found that people who experienced early emotional stress developed heightened activity in their brain's threat detection regions. Your brain got very, very good at reading people. Researchers at the University of Iowa found that the frontal lobe, the part responsible for complex social decisions, works overtime. In people with this background, you're not paranoid. You're not too sensitive. You are processing social information at a level most people never access. That feeling when something is off, it's not anxiety. That's thousands of hours of lived experience refined into an early warning system. When it says this person will drain you, you've learned to listen. Society has a word for people like you. Isolated. Withdrawn. Antisocial. But those words assume something is missing. That you're incomplete without constant connection. Here's a different word. Solitude. Loneliness is the absence of connection you want. Solitude is the presence of peace you chose. You're not sitting alone wishing someone would call. You're sitting in your own space, finally able to hear yourself think. Your phone is quiet, and that quiet feels like relief, not rejection. People will say you're running away from something, but you know the truth. You're not running from anything. You're running toward something. Toward clarity. Toward stillness. Toward a version of yourself that doesn't exist inside of chaos. That's not isolation. That is sanctuary. If you're watching this, wondering if something is wrong with you, hear this clearly. There is nothing wrong with you. You are not cold. You are not heartless. You are not incapable of love. You are someone who learned to harwe, that not everyone deserves access to your energy. And instead of letting that lesson make you bitter, you made a choice to protect your peace, to guard your energy, to build a life that feels gentle instead of chaotic. That is not weakness. That is one of the quietly fiercest things a person can do. Harvard's 75-year study on human happiness found one defining factor. Not how many people you have in your life, but whether you have the right ones. So if your circle is small, but is full of people who actually see you, you're not doing it wrong. You're doing it right. If this felt like permission you didn't know you needed, you are not alone. Protect your peace.